You dream of success. You whisper it to yourself in silence. You feel it in your chest when no one's watching. But every time you think about chasing it, life throws another reason to wait. Let me tell you the truth. I lived through war, doubt, and impossible odds to learn. Success does not come by accident. It is forged in fire, built in quiet, earned in persistence. And it starts now. Welcome to Unlocking Wisdom, where ancient strength and timeless truth are brought to life to guide your journey to purpose, clarity, and power. Here, you don't just learn, you awaken. Success never asks what you want. It asks what you're willing to become. Let me speak to the part of you that's tired. The part that has worked hard and still wonders if it's enough. The part that keeps showing up, even when the world pays no attention. I know that part well. I lived many years in that place. And what I discovered, what changed me forever, is that greatness never arrives by accident. It is not handed to the lucky. It does not favor the gifted. It bends its knee only to those who are willing to pay the full price. And that price is relentless effort, daily effort, silent effort. Effort that goes unseen by the world, but felt deeply by the soul. You want to build something extraordinary? You must stop expecting it to be easy. You must stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect timing. You must start now, with what you have, where you are. Because every second you delay is a second the fire within you dims. You think you need more clarity before you begin. But clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from moving. Taking the first step even when you cannot see the second. Effort reveals the road. Effort sharpens direction. Effort, not hope, builds the bridge between dreams and reality. I've watched men who had everything still fail. And I've watched others, born with nothing, rise through sheer discipline and unshakable purpose. It wasn't because they were chosen. It was because they chose. Chose to believe when nothing in their life looked like success. Chose to show up when fear screamed louder than faith. Chose to keep going when others quit. And I'll tell you, now the world only remembers those who kept going. Not the talented, not the promising, but the relentless. And what is effort really? It is not noise. It is not speed. It is not performance. True effort is internal. It is what you do when no one is watching. It is the mindset you carry before the sun rises. It is the commitment to become someone your future self can be proud of. You may feel invisible now, but your discipline is making you undeniable. You must stop looking for ease. You must stop comparing your journey to others. The soil of greatness is different for each soul. Some rise fast, others rise slowly. What matters is that you rise, that you move, that you become. Because success is not found in a single victory. It is buried in 1,000 moments of refusing. To give in to doubt, to fear, to the lie that you are not enough. You are more than enough. But only if you show up like it. Only if you act like it. Only if you sweat for it. Let your life no longer be a story of excuses. Let it be a story of transformation. The world does not need another dreamer, it needs a doer. It needs someone who walks through storms without losing fire. Someone who wakes up, tired but focused. Someone who does the hard thing not because it's glamorous, but because it's right. That someone is you, not in a distant future, not in some perfect version of yourself. Now, your pain is not in vain. Your struggle is not wasted. Everything you're going through is preparing you, shaping you, forming a steel resolve in your soul that cannot be bought or borrowed. If life is demanding more from you, it's because there's more in you. You have not come this far to break. You've come this far to build. And every act of effort is a brick in your foundation. Lay it with pride. Lay it with fire. Lay it with the full awareness that this moment is sacred. Because this is the moment you chose to no longer be who you were, but to become who you're meant to be. Do. Not mistake slow progress for failure. Progress is not loud. It's not flashy. It's not always visible. But it's there, in your decision to get back up, in your choice to keep moving forward. in your refusal to let your past define you. You may not feel it yet, but every small act of discipline is reshaping your destiny. And one day, the world will look at your life and call it overnight success. But you will know the truth. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was work. It was effort. Relentless, sacred, holy effort. So here's the truth I came to give. You, the truth no one wants to admit. Success is earned in silence long before it's celebrated in public. You want the reward, then you must love the repetition, love the grind, love the stretch. Fall in love with effort, not just the results. Because the one who embraces effort will never be empty-handed. You may lose some days, but you will never lose yourself. And in the end, that is the only kind of success that matters, the kind that grows you into someone you respect. The fire inside you is not random. It is a signal. It is divine. It is the call to rise again and again until you become what you were born to be. Answer that call. And don't just answer it once. Answer it daily, in every choice, every word, every breath. Let the world rest. You rise. Let them doubt. You decide. Let them watch. You walk. Because greatness is not a gift, it's a decision. And today, you choose it. You do not rise to your dreams. You fall to your disciplines. If you want to rise in this life, you must stop worshipping the feeling of being inspired and start building the structure that holds you up when inspiration runs dry. Because there will come a day, many days, when you will not feel like moving forward. You will feel tired, defeated, and directionless. And in that moment, the only thing that will carry you is not your motivation, it is your discipline, your daily practice, your quiet rituals, your sacred commitment to becoming someone better than who you were yesterday. You see, success does not come by the hand of chance. It bows to those who show up when they don't feel ready, who act even when they're unsure, who persist even when no one notices. And I'll tell you this now, your greatest progress will not happen on the days you feel your best. It will happen on the days you show up anyway. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a declaration. It is the way you speak to your future self and say, I will not abandon you. I will fight for who we're becoming. It is self-respect in action. Discipline is how you honor your own potential, how you take what lives in your dreams and drag it into your reality, one action at a time. The people who build greatness are not more talented than you. They simply understand the power of rhythm. They have built a system around their priorities. They don't wait to feel like it. They don't negotiate with laziness. They've trained their minds to obey purpose over comfort. And that training, that structure, is what allows them to break through walls. While others are still looking for shortcuts, you don't need 100 new ideas. You need a few powerful disciplines repeated daily. Read when others scroll. Move your body when others rest. Create when others consume. Speak life into yourself when others seek approval. Track your time like it matters, because it does. You are building a legacy, whether you realize it or not, and your legacy is written in your habits, not in one big decision, but in 10,000 small ones. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being aligned. It is about making sure your actions match your values. It is about doing the hard thing not because you're in the mood, but because you refuse to betray your purpose. The world is filled with talented people who never discipline themselves to deliver. Don't be one of them. Be the one who finishes what they started. Who keeps showing up after the excitement is gone. Who builds quietly until the results are too loud to ignore. Do you know what most people misunderstand? They think success feels good all the time. But success hurts. It stretches you. It demands your excuses. It reveals your weaknesses. It exposes every lie you've ever told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. But here's the secret. Those who stay in the fire long enough are refined by it. Their fear turns into focus. Their doubt into drive. Their excuses into execution. And suddenly, They don't just have results, they have identity. They've become someone different, someone stronger, someone unshakable. That is what discipline does. It doesn't just change what you have, it changes who you are. The more you act in alignment with your values, the less room fear has to speak, the less influence your past has to define you. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for signs. You realize you were the sign all along. You were the answer. You were the one who needed to decide. Let this be the day you decide that your actions will no longer be dictated by moods, but by mission. That your habits will not reflect your past, they will reflect your future. That you will stop dipping your toes into growth and start diving into it with everything you've got. Because you cannot casually become extraordinary. You must fully commit, and yes, you will be tested. There will be days when you want to quit, when your results feel small and your effort feels pointless. But listen to me, those days are where your power is born. That is where your discipline earns its name. Anyone can show up when it's easy. The world belongs to those who show up when it's hard. This is not about becoming perfect. This is about becoming responsible, about owning your direction, about honoring the voice within you that says, there's more in me, and then proving it with your habits. Every morning you rise early, you say, I believe in me. Every workout you push through, you say, I'm committed to my strength. Every hour of focused effort, every journal entry, every prayer. Every quiet choice to keep going when no one claps, that is the stuff of transformation. The truth is, you don't need to be more gifted. You don't need more resources. What you need is standards. Higher standards. Standards that say, I do not skip what matters. Standards that say, I don't chase motivation, I create momentum. Standards that say, I live by values, not vibes. And from that place, that fire-forged discipline, you will walk into any room with quiet confidence. Because you'll know the power behind your eyes. You'll know that no matter what happens, you are prepared. Not because the path is easy, but because you are ready. Your discipline is your declaration. Let the world watch. Let them question. Let them doubt. You just keep building. You just keep becoming. Success is not a mystery. It is a result. And the seed is always the same. Discipline, done daily, in silence. Let the others talk. You walk. The loudest victories are born in the quietest rooms. There comes a moment in every pursuit when the noise fades. The world stops clapping. The spotlight shifts. And all that remains is you, your breath, and the sound of your own doubts. Echoing off the walls in this place, where silence swallows praise and darkness tests your direction. Many give up. Many mistake the quiet for failure. But I tell you this now, that silence is not your enemy. It is the forge, the holy ground, where real transformation begins. You do not become great on the stage. You become great in the shadows, when no one is watching, when no one is validating. When no one is reminding you that your work matters. It is in these invisible hours, these sacred silences, that your fire either dies or ignites. And if you can learn to burn without applause, to grow without attention, to believe without proof, you will become unstoppable. The world tells you that progress should feel exciting, that you should always feel seen. But the truth is, most of your breakthroughs will be built in secret, behind closed doors, beneath the weight of loneliness, when you are tired of trying, when your voice is raw from speaking life into yourself, when you show up not because it feels good, but because you've decided that quitting is no longer an option. You see, the silence is not the absence of movement. It is the place where your spirit gets recalibrated, where your vision sharpens, where your intentions are purified. You are not being ignored, you are being refined. Life is asking, can you still love your dream when it doesn't love you back yet? Can you still walk when the lights go out? And if your answer is yes, you are closer to victory than you think. The most dangerous man is the one who keeps building when no one is watching, Who keeps showing up to his calling without needing applause? Who doesn't need attention to take action? That man does not burn out, he burns through. Because his fire does not come from outside, it comes from within. It is not borrowed from praise. It is born of purpose. And that kind of fire cannot be extinguished. It only grows. What most don't realize is that your silence is sacred. It is the place where you learn how to listen not just to the world, but to your soul, to the whisper of purpose, to the divine hum of destiny pulling you forward. It is where you discover that intuition is louder than fear, that clarity is birthed in stillness, and that your best decisions are made not in chaos, but in quiet certainty. So do not curse the silence. Learn to live in it, build in it, move in it. Let it become your training ground, your edge, your secret weapon. Because when the noise returns, and it will, you will be ready. You will not be swayed by praise or crushed by criticism. You will have something they do not: roots. Roots that were grown when no one was watching. Strength that was forged in isolation. Identity that cannot be shaken by applause or abandoned in rejection. And when you re-emerge, because you will, you won't come back desperate to be seen. You'll come back as someone who sees clearly. Someone who knows their own value. Someone who does not need to be validated to be valuable. You will carry the fire of the silence in your eyes, and the world will feel it before you ever speak. Because the fire inside you is not for show. It is for becoming, for breaking old patterns, for burning away lies and forging new truth. That fire is not noise, it is transformation. And it is built moment by moment. When you choose to rise in the silence, people will ask, how did you change? And the answer will never be glamorous. You'll say, I showed up when it was quiet. I worked when no one noticed. I believed when no one clapped. I prayed in empty rooms. I chose truth over comfort. I gave myself fully to the work without knowing if it would ever be enough. And that is what made you unshakable. So now I ask you, are you willing to embrace the silence? Are you willing to keep going when no one thanks you? Will you plant your seed with faith that it will bloom even if the world forgets your name? Because if you can do that, you are not just chasing success, you are embodying purpose. Do not fear the quiet. That is where your power lives. That is where you begin to walk with the rhythm of eternity. That is where your soul remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. Let them rest. Let them stop. Let them fall in love with attention. You fall in love with the silence, with the process, with the private fight, with the unglamorous grind. Because that is where champions are born. Not in moments of glory, but in years of unseen, unshakable belief. And when the time comes for you to rise, you won't rise with noise, you'll rise with presence. The kind of presence that shakes rooms, that turns heads, that makes people feel something real without needing to say much at all. Because the fire you built in the silence will speak for itself. Don't chase the spotlight. Become the light. Before you win on the outside, you must win within. There is a battle happening inside you every single day. A war between your old self and your future self. Between the voice of fear and the voice of truth. Between the memories of what hurt you and the vision of what can heal you. And here's the truth. You cannot win this war with willpower alone. You must rewire your mind. You must tear down the patterns that keep you small and build the ones that make you unstoppable. Everything you are becoming begins in thought. Your life does not rise to the level of your dreams. It falls to the level of your beliefs. You can speak all the affirmations you want. You can write down your goals. You can chase results. But if your subconscious is still running a script that says you are not enough, you will sabotage your own success again and again. This is not a flaw. It is a signal that it's time to go deeper, to step into the hard work of mental renovation. You were not born with self-doubt. You were not born with fear of rejection. You were not born thinking you weren't good enough. Those were thoughts planted by moments, by words, by wounds, and they took root. They became stories you told yourself. I'm not ready. I always fail. I'm not like them. I'm too late, too different, too broken. But I'm telling you now, you are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are not the thoughts that have echoed so long that you started calling them truth. You can change not just your habits, but your identity. Not just your actions, but your assumptions. You can train your mind to believe in your future more than it fears your past. But it takes work, and that work begins with awareness, with noticing the lies, with watching the patterns, with catching yourself in the moment you say I can't and replacing it with I'm learning, with hearing the thought this always happens to me and replacing it with this is preparing me for more. Your mind listens to your words. Speak with intention. Think with vision. Because you are not just living your life, you are programming your brain. Your brain does not care what is true. It cares what is repeated. Repetition is what builds identity. And if you can repeat the right truths long enough, with enough feeling, your brain will stop questioning and start adapting. And that is where transformation begins. Not when you feel like it, but when you decide to speak life louder than fear, to act like you are capable, even when you feel insecure, to show up like you matter even when the world forgets your name. Every time you think a thought, you strengthen a neural path. You are either reinforcing weakness or building power. And the choice is always yours. You can tell yourself the story of why it won't work. Or you can tell yourself the story of why you were made for this moment. The facts haven't changed, only the lens through which you see them. And if you change your lens, you change your life. That's why your environment matters. Who you listen to matters. What you consume matters. You're not just feeding your mind, you're shaping it. The podcasts you play, the books you read, the conversations you entertain, they are either dragging you deeper into your past or pulling you forward into your future. And you have the power to choose, to cut off what dims you, to starve the lies, to feed the flame, to protect your mind as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. There will be resistance. Your old self will not die quietly. The part of you that clings to comfort will scream. But you must not listen, you must. Keep choosing the new, even when it feels unnatural, even when it feels fake. Because growth always feels like a lie at first. Your body rebels, your emotions resist, but your spirit knows. Your spirit remembers. It remembers that you were never meant to be small, that you were never meant to stay stuck, that you are the product of generations of strength, and the future depends on your breakthrough. So rewire your mind with fire, with faith, with fierce self-respect. Wake up and speak power over yourself. Catch your thoughts and realign them, not with fantasy, but with truth. The truth that you are resilient, the truth that you are resourceful, the truth that no thought can hold you unless you let it. And if you do this long enough, if you do it with fire, you will notice something beautiful. You stop waiting for external victories to feel strong, because you already feel it within. Before the reward, before the success, you become your own victory. And that is what separates the few from the many. Most people want to win, but few are willing to think like winners before the world gives them a reason. Few are willing to wake up and choose the mindset of a champion while living in the results of a beginner. But you are not most people. You are a warrior of the mind, a soldier of the soul, a builder of mental strength. And the more you do this work, the more you realize success isn't about luck. It's about alignment. And alignment begins inside. So remember this. Before your life rises, your mind must rise. Before your name is known, your identity must be anchored. Before you see the fruit, you must nurture the root. And that root is your belief system. Dig deep, water it daily, speak light into it. And no matter how long it takes, trust this: when your mind shifts, your world will follow. You are not stuck. You are simply untrained. But the training begins today. The climb doesn't get easier. You just grow stronger. Let me speak to the part of you that is tired, The part that is still climbing, still fighting, still holding on. I know how it feels to give everything you have and still not see the peak. I know the silence after effort. I know the weight of wondering if it's all worth it. But I also know this: every great soul must pass through this valley. Every victory demands a climb. And if you have the courage to keep going, not just when it's hard, but when it's heartbreaking, then you are not far from the breakthrough that changes everything. The climb is not a punishment. It is a purification. It is where your pride dies and your power is born. It is where your fear is tested and your strength is proven. You may not be where you want to be, but look back for a moment just long enough to see how far you've come. That pain you survived, that storm you walked through, that day you showed up when everything in you wanted to quit. That wasn't small, that was sacred. You are further than you think, stronger than you feel, and closer than you know. But here's what no one tells you about the journey. The higher you go, the harder the wind blows. The air gets thinner, the pressure intensifies. Your circle gets smaller. The voices get louder inside your mind and outside of it. Some will question your pace. Some will doubt your purpose. But this is where courage matters more than comfort. This is where you remind yourself that you didn't start this journey for applause. You started it for transformation. And transformation is never convenient. It demands all of you, not just your effort, but your heart, your forgiveness, your willingness to let go of who you used to be in order to rise into who you are becoming. Many people want success. Few are willing to shed the skin of old habits, old stories, old identities. But if you are willing to endure the burn of becoming, there is a version of you waiting on the other side that is more powerful, more grounded, more alive than anything you've ever known. Let the climb break you, not to destroy you, but to reveal you, to strip away everything false, to leave only what is real, your mission, your resilience, your soul. Because when life tests you, and it will, it is not trying to stop you. It is trying to shape you, to see if you are ready for the weight of what you are asking for, to see if you can carry the crown without letting it crush your character. And the truth is this: there is no easy route to the top. Every shortcut comes with a cost. Every bypass skips the very process that makes you strong enough to stay once you arrive. Don't wish for easy. Easy makes you soft. Easy hides your potential. Wish for endurance. Wish for courage. Wish for fire in your bones and focus in your eyes. Because when you reach the summit, and you will, you won't just be celebrating the view. You'll be honoring the fight it took to get there. And here's what I want you to know. With every ounce of truth I have, the days when you feel weakest are the days that matter most. That's when courage counts. That's when growth multiplies. That's when heaven leans in and says, this one is ready to carry more. Because you don't become a leader in comfort. You become a leader in chaos. You don't become brave by sitting still. You become brave by moving forward, afraid and alive at the same time. And sometimes climbing doesn't mean sprinting. Sometimes it means crawling. Sometimes it means holding the line. Sometimes it means crying while you climb, bleeding while you build, failing and still choosing to rise. And that doesn't make you weak, it makes you dangerous. Because the world can't break someone who has already been broken and chose to keep going anyway. Your courage isn't measured by how loud you are. It's measured by your willingness to take one more step, and then another, and then another. Even when the mountain is steep, even when the goal seems far, even when your legs shake and your heart wants to run, you stay, you rise, you climb. So let today be the day you stop asking, how long will it take? And start declaring, however long it takes, I will not quit. Let today be the day you stop waiting for clarity and start walking in conviction. Because clarity comes from movement. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to climb in spite of it. And as you climb, you will lose things: comfort, certainty, the approval of others. But you will gain something more valuable: your self-respect, your strength, your story. And one day, someone will hear your story. They will see how far you came, and they will find there Own courage in your climb, because you didn't quit, because you kept showing up, because you refused to live a small life just because the mountain was high. You kept going, and that made all the difference, Dot. So take a deep breath, plant your foot, and climb. You are stronger than the storm. You are braver than the mountain, and the peak is waiting for the one who never stopped believing. A man without purpose is a ship without a compass adrift, aimless, and easily lost. Let me ask you a question that many fear to answer. Why are you here? Not in this room, not in this season, not in this challenge, but here on this earth. If your answer is unclear, if it is borrowed, vague, or shallow, then you will live a life that feels the same, unclear, borrowed, vague, and shallow. But the moment you decide to anchor yourself in purpose, everything changes. Focus sharpens. Courage returns. Confusion fades. Because purpose is not just something you find, it is something you choose to live by. Purpose is not a job, not a title, not a destination. It is the fire that guides every step. It is the reason you rise when others fall. It is the force that makes sacrifice meaningful and struggle sacred. It is the thread that weaves your pain into power and your past into preparation. When you live with purpose, effort is no longer just effort. It becomes worship. It becomes a vow. A living declaration that you were not born to simply exist but to matter. I have seen many men chase success and still feel hollow. Because without purpose, success becomes noise, achievement becomes vanity, movement becomes meaningless. But I have also seen men with little to their name walk with unshakable confidence, because they knew who they were and what they were living for. Their lives were not driven by applause, they were anchored in mission, and that mission made them dangerous, unbreakable, timeless. So, what is your mission? What do you stand for when everything around you crumbles? What cause awakens your bones? What truth are you willing to carry even if no one else sees it? You were not born to be neutral. You were not born to drift. There is something inside you, something ancient and divine that longs to be expressed. And if you ignore it, you will suffer, not because you failed, but because you betrayed yourself by living someone else's life. To live with purpose is to refuse distraction. It is to say no to the urgent in order to say yes to the important. It is to stop living for comfort and start living for consequence. Every decision matters. Every habit matters. Because everything you do is either building your purpose or burying it. And if you wait until life is easy to choose purpose, you will be waiting forever. Purpose is not born in peace, it is born in fire. It is born when you get sick of living a life that looks good but feels empty. When you get tired of pretending. When you finally decide that your soul is worth more than your schedule. And here's the truth that few will tell you. Living with purpose will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you popularity. It will cost you convenience. But what you gain in return is priceless clarity. Clarity of direction. Clarity of identity. Clarity of impact. You begin to move not with hesitation, but with conviction. You stop asking for validation and start walking in vision. Because when you know who you are, and why you're here, no one else gets to decide your worth. You will begin to notice the world differently. What once distracted you now disgusts you. What once tempted you now tires you. You will begin to crave depth, not noise, impact, not attention, legacy, not likes, and suddenly, everything you do begins to align. Your mornings, your work, your relationships, they all come into order, not perfectly, but powerfully. Because they are no longer random, they are rooted. And when storms come, and they will, it is your purpose that holds you. Not your title, not your followers, not your motivation. Purpose is the anchor in the chaos. It reminds you that what you are building is bigger than you. That your life was never meant to be a performance, it was meant to be a light. And that light is not for show. It is for service. It is for truth. It is for healing the very pain. You once survived. This is what makes a soul strong, not talent, not charm, not status, but a relentless commitment to live with intention, to use your breath for something bigger than survival, to use your wounds to build wisdom, to use your struggle to strengthen others. And when you live like that, when every step has meaning, you do not age, you evolve. You do not just grow old, you grow wise. So today, I urge you return to your reason, dig it up, dust it off, name it, own it, and then build from it. Let it shape your hours. Let it cut off what no longer fits. Let it demand more from you, not because you are broken, but because you are capable. You are not random. You are not replaceable. You were designed with intention. And your time here is short. Use it with fire, with vision, with urgency. Because a purpose delayed is a purpose denied. You don't need permission. You need a decision. A holy vow between you and your Creator that says, I will not waste this life. I will not sleep through my destiny. I will not trade meaning for mediocrity. And when you make that vow, you will feel something shift inside you. A stillness, a strength, a knowing. And from that knowing, everything becomes possible. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be clear. Because clarity breeds focus, and focus, repeated over time, builds a life that shakes the world. So choose your purpose, own your path, and live like your life is the answer to someone else's prayer, because it is. You were not made to fit in. You were made to rise. This is the moment, the turning point, the final breath before the next beginning. Everything you've walked through, every scar, every silence, every setback, every victory they have, all led you here. And now, there is only one question that remains. Will you become who you were meant to be? Not who the world told you to be. Not the watered-down version of yourself that settles for safety. But the true, unfiltered, unapologetic version of you, the one that was born for greatness. Because greatness is not reserved for the chosen. It is revealed in the committed. It does not shout, it whispers. It lives in the quiet decision to rise again, in the fierce commitment to grow, no matter how long it takes. In the sacred choice to stop shrinking for people who were never meant to carry your destiny. You are not here by accident. You were chosen for this exact moment in time. Not because you are perfect, but because you are ready. Because somewhere, deep inside, you know you were born for more. More impact, more depth, more courage, more truth. You are not here to survive. You are here to transform. But becoming who you were meant to be requires war. A war with the old self, with the comfort that numbs you, with the fear that lies to you, with the habits that betray your purpose. And the battlefield is not outside of you, it is within. And if you want to win, you must decide. Decide to stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting to be chosen. You must choose yourself. This is your moment to rise, to look at the mirror and say, no more. No more pretending. No more delaying. No more apologizing for your fire. The world needs it. The world needs you, fully awakened, fully alive, fully present, not buried beneath doubt, but blazing forward with conviction. You have walked long enough in hesitation. It is time to step into identity, not borrowed, not copied, but forged. Forged in silence, forged in suffering, forged in the secret places where only you and God knew how much it cost. And now the world will see the fruit, but only you will know the fight. Because becoming is not about impressing others. It is about honoring what was placed inside you before you were born. That gift, that light, that mission, you do not owe. The world an explanation, you owe it your transformation. And transformation is messy. It is wild. It is sacred. It is not a highlight reel. It is blood, sweat, tears, and relentless love for the person you are becoming. So rise imperfect, but powerful. Rise shaking, but certain. Rise not because you have all the answers, but because you are done living with excuses. You have cried enough tears. You have waited enough years. You have watched others walk into their calling while you hid from yours. Not anymore. Because now, you choose to become, not tomorrow, not when it's easy, not when it's popular. Now. And you will rise into this next chapter with more depth, more wisdom, more presence. You will no longer chase success for validation. You will create it from alignment, from within, from your soul, from your truth. And in doing so, you will inspire others not with your perfection, but with your honesty. Your scars will become maps for others. Your story will become a doorway for the broken. Your fire will become a light in dark places. And that, my friend, is what it means to live a life of significance. That is what it means to become who you were meant to be. So let this be your declaration. I will no longer live on accident. I will no longer pretend to be less than I am. I will no longer betray the greatness inside me just to be liked, understood, or safe. I am here to become, and I will not stop until my life reflects what my soul already knows I was born to lead, to build, to create, to awaken. Let this be your fire. Let this be your freedom. Let this be the final time you look back. Because forward is calling. Destiny is calling. The highest version of you is waiting. And every step you take from this moment forward, every choice, every word, every action is an answer to that call. No more excuses. No more delays. You have everything you need. You have the lessons. You have the scars. You have the vision. And now you have the decision. Become. If this message sparks something deep inside you, comment "I will become" below. Like this video and subscribe to Unlocking Wisdom, because this is not the end. This is your rise.